Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to talk about the most important shot for putting away overheads, which is going to be the angled overhead. So we're going to cover how to hit it, both inside in and inside out, and we're going to talk about the combinations on overheads. This is something a lot of people don't think about, but if you watch the pros, they play a little game pulling their opponents around when they're back defending. They don't just hit the first overhead every time to the same spot, down the middle, wide, because at a higher level, or even if you play athletic players at a lower level, they're going to be able to just keep getting it back and lobbing it, right? And what we don't want to do is just have an endless cycle of hitting the overhead down the middle, they lob it, hitting the overhead down the middle, they lob it. That's a really boring and frustrating way to play. So today I'm going to explain how we get out of that, how we end these points, and how we angle our overheads. First, the overhead, right? So recapping something I've done some shorts on and I've mentioned in some of these longer videos, the form to hit a good overhead is going to be a couple things. The first thing is going to be turning, right? So we're never going to hit an overhead like this. We're going to turn sideways. The second is we're going to take our non-dominant hand up to the ball. The third, we're going to be loose with our wrist and get our paddle back, and then we're going to snap on contact and follow through. That's going to be the same whether I hit the middle, the inside in angle, or the inside out angle. Nothing's going to change on that part of it. So if we start with a good strong overhead, the next thing we're going to do is the dimensions of the court, right? So if I'm here, where is the easiest angled overhead I could hit, right? Is it easier for me to go this way, short side, or this way, long side? It's going to be easier for me to go long side. That's because I have a little extra court, and this is not super huge, but again, the net is a little bit lower here, so you're more likely to clip the net or miss on this side, and also go wide on the short side. What I'll do is, if I'm playing, let's say, mixed, I may come take this overhead. I'm a lot more likely now to go inside in this direction than I am inside out. In men's doubles, where I'm taking more of these, I'm much more likely to go inside out. So again, that's just how I think of which direction I should hit them. How we're actually going to hit them actually isn't that complicated. The key is going to be side of the ball. So if I'm hitting an overhead this direction, right? I know, ignore the court, right? Normally we're just hitting our overhead straight behind on the top like this. That's how we get it down, hit it hard, great. On the angled overheads, the only real difference is we're going to set up the exact same way. If I want to go inside in, I'm a righty, right? It's going to be the opposite if you're a lefty. I'm going to hit on the right side of the ball up here. So same idea, right? It's just when I get back, I'm going to hit over here on the ball. And the easiest way to do that is using our arm. So I'm not going to set up like this and then use my wrist to do it. I'm going to come around, right? So the ball's here. I'm going to use my arm to get around the ball. And all my wrist does is always the same. All your wrist is ever going to do is snap down. So it's either snapping forward, snapping this direction, snapping that direction. But my shoulder pronates, right? So for inside in, I pronate in like this, and I get around the ball. For a normal overhead, I'm this direction, and for an inside out, I'm pronating my shoulder like this to go that way. So all your wrist ever does is snap down. Which direction it snaps comes from your shoulder. So again, for our inside in, I'm going to get on the right top side of the ball, down like that. For our normal overhead, I'm going to get right behind the ball like that. And for our inside out, I'm going to get on the left side of the ball like that. That's how I'm able to hit angles, hit 1, 2, 3 spots, and make my opponents cover the whole court. Thank you guys for coming back for another video.
Richard, have you seen this? 67% of new viewers aren't subscribed to the channel.
67%?
67%.
Guys, subscribe. Now the last thing to remember is, just like so many of our other shots, how many players are on the opposing team? 2. How many spots can they effectively cover? 2. That's why having 3 different angles on the overhead is so big. Again, I am more likely to go inside out from this side and inside in from this side, but if my opponents are cheating, you can always use the other one because there's only 2 of them, right? Or especially, let's say for instance, I'm in the middle of the court, right? If this opponent's covering this angle and this opponent's covering this angle, you go right down the middle. If they're covering 1, 2, I go wide. And if they're covering 1 middle, I go wide, right? So on that overhead, there's really no way for them to stop you. The last thing I want to mention is we're only going to do this if we're set pretty close to the line. I'm never gonna go for an angled overhead from back here because my percentage drops. The net comes into play, and as we go sharper, we are much more likely to miss. So for me, I really only do this if I'm on the line, maybe one step back. As soon as I take more than one step off the line, I'm just gonna try to hit a nice deep overhead down the middle to get that other overhead up here where I can angle it off. This is not a shot to hit from the back or middle of the court because it's too hard to create the angle you want and put away the ball. You can see on that there's really no way for anyone to defend it unless they go really early, which leads back to what I was talking about earlier, which is kind of setting it up and using other angles. But that's the inside out. You can see how I'm turning, right? In the beginning, I could go anywhere, but right before I hit, I turn my shoulder and I just snap my wrist down. Bang, nice and out. And again, from this side of the court, it's much easier. Now the inside in, super similar. I'm gonna get back, snap down, send the ball there. You can see how that's an effective way to put away the ball rather than just hitting it down the middle and letting them scramble. This is how I put away any ball where I'm up here at the kitchen line. Again, I'm not going to be doing this off the line. The follow-up to that is our combos. So now when you're playing good players, and let's say we can't hit that crazy sharp angle, right? If you can hit that, like you get a ball that easy, go for it, it's a winner every time. But now those other ones, people can cover them. Like just a normal, like if I'm here, just a normal angled overhead that isn't crazy sharp is going to be able to be covered. So how do I get my opponents to miss them or not be ready? I'm gonna show you the simplest pattern. It's one that the best player in the world, Ben Johns, uses all the time. So there's two combos here, right? So it's the middle wide combo or the wide middle combo. And what I mean by this is the first overhead, you're going to hit to a specific location to get another overhead. And then what happens is we switch our location or go back behind. So I'm gonna break it down, don't worry, I know it's a little complicated. So I get a ball here right in the middle. Zach's covering. I hit it right down the middle. Zach scrambles and gets it back. Now he's like a soccer goalie, right? He has to cover both of those locations, and if his partner starts cheating over, I can pull them out wide. But let's say Zach's covering those two, right? I'm gonna hold it, and I can go back down the middle, or I can do what I think is the most effective, which is I go middle, and then I go wide on the next ball, because then he's sprinting to go get it. Or the flip is true, right? I go wide on the first one, he covers it, and before he has a chance to recover, I just go right down the middle. Again, by pairing those two together, it's gonna be very hard for Zach to cover those overheads. One of the two players has to cover two locations, right? There's three. So let's say Zach is covering the two, middle and wide, so he's on that string. So I'm gonna do a couple reps. I'll show you guys how I'll use middle wide or middle middle or wide middle to kind of get Zach off balance and end the point. That was perfect. Richie Recap time. Today we talked about two different things, angling off our overheads and comboing our overheads, right? So the first thing was the form. So on the form side, right, our normal overhead and our angled overhead, we're gonna get turned, opposite hand up, or if you're a lefty, you know, paddle back, wrist loose, and then we're going to swing our arm down and snap our wrist. So a normal overhead, we'd snap like this. A inside in overhead, we'd get around the ball with our shoulder, snap down. An inside out overhead, we're gonna get around with our shoulder and snap down, right? So all those directions are possible. The other thing is when do we use it, right? We use it when we are up on the line. We're not using it when we're moving back or way off the line because we're much more likely to hit those balls in the net. Then for the combos, right? I only showed a couple and it's easier when I can go everywhere, but limitations of just Zach and I here. For the angled overheads, the easiest ones are find whichever player is covering middle, because that player has to cover two different sides, and whoever that is, you make them either go wide and then you go behind them to the middle, or you make them go middle and then you angle it off wide. That makes it where you don't have to hit a perfect ball because they get out of position on the first one and they're not ready for the second one. Again, angling our overheads is the way to put away those balls above your head. Not hitting them straight down the middle over and over again like I know so many of you are. Instead, we're gonna really try to angle them off, and the last thing I wanted to end with this is the easiest place to go is cross court. If I'm on the left, this is easy because I have lots of room, and if I'm on the right, this is easy because I have lots of room, right? We don't wanna take a short angle, try to go really tight and miss it wide or hit it in the net. Take the easy angle if it's an easy ball and put it away to the wide side of the court. Thank you for coming back for another video. I will see all of you next time.